So, Elimination Chamber happened just a couple of days ago at the time that this gets released, and it was crazy. We'll be talking about the moment that everyone's been talking about later. Let's just talk about the matches themselves before we get to the main event, which was just a segment, which at first I was kind of like, okay, that's weird that they're having a segment be the main event essentially, but honestly, with how it turned out, you can't exactly blame them. Like, that's probably the biggest thing WWE is going to do all year. But let's look at what else happened during the show, starting off with the Elimination Chamber match for the women to determine who will be going after the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania. Now the participants of this match were Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Naomi, and Roxanne Perez. And this is a match that I feel like I'm going to need to rewatch because honestly, I just really wasn't feeling this match. I didn't feel like there was that much going on. I don't know. I feel like this is one I really need to rewatch to get a good sense of what happened in it. I felt like this was just a match that never really got going. And for what could have been a great match, it was just kind of fine. I don't know. I feel like I definitely need to rewatch this back, but my first time watching it, it's not that I hated it. I was just kind of disappointed that we didn't get more, but I think that's just a case of, I don't know, I think I just need to rewatch it, honestly. But overall, again, it wasn't terrible. There's just not like a bunch of big moments I could really give for this outside of like a Bianca doing the big crossbody to everyone like on top of the pod, but outside of that, it just felt like this wasn't that exciting outside of obviously the starting moments of this match, which was Jade Cargill coming out and attacking Naomi. That was, I felt like this was going to happen regardless, Jade Cargill coming back, but I didn't expect it to be this early. And with the whole thing of Bianca watching from her cell, it made it only better. I've seen a lot of people try to theorize where this is going to go, like if Bianca was in on it, if she's the one who actually did it, and Naomi is the one who took the attack. I don't know. I think Naomi is like the reasonable culprit, and I think it's not that much deeper than that. I think this is just going to be a case of, like, the way that I see the story going is that since Bianca won this chamber match, she's probably going to get moved to Raw to like feud with Rhea or Io directly, and she's just gonna kind of get away from it. She's like, you know what, I don't even want to deal with all that. I thought it was Liv and Raquel, but I guess I was wrong. I'm just gonna let Naomi and Jade handle their business. Or it could be that she gets involved with the Io Rhea match and calls it DQ and turns heel. Maybe it's revealed that she's actually behind it, like behind the Jade attack, and this is like a heel turn for her, but like maybe Naomi was also in on it, and then Naomi and Jade feud. It's very interesting to see where they could go with this, and honestly, I feel like for as long as we have waited for this story to come to some sort of climax, I feel like this is where the story is going to get good. Like, I'm really excited for the story going forth because there's so many angles they could do with it. Maybe Jade even gets involved in the title match. I don't really see that happening. I don't feel like they're going to insert her into it. I feel like they're going to keep it Jade versus Naomi, and Bianca is just going to be inserted into a triple threat match. Honestly, I feel like with the women's match at Mania, with Rhea, Io, and Bianca, I think that's going to be a triple threat match. I don't think Io is going to be out of the division that quickly. I feel like, if anything, Bianca is going to interfere in that match, call it a DQ more than likely, and to kind of remedy that, they're going to book a triple threat match so that Io can get her shot back after Bianca basically screwed her out of it, if that's where they decide to go with it. But everything else, I mean, Bayley, Roxanne, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, they all had a great performance. It's just that the match itself, I don't know. They had a pretty good performance, I'll say. Again, I need to rewatch this match to really feel, like, get a good feel of it, because I just wasn't that, I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it, in all honesty. But maybe that's just me. But it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this. I feel like this basically just set up what the women's division is going to be like going into Mania with Bayley versus Roxanne. I feel like that's just bound to be a singles match. And Alexa Bliss more than likely teaming up with Nikki Cross with the Wyatt Six. rekindling that old tag team and then going after Liv and Raquel. That would be fun. So who knows? Maybe even getting a Wyatt 6 Judgment Day feud going in there. I mean, they have been talking about the Judgment Day getting another member, and if they do feud with the Wyatt 6, they're going to need one because it will be 4v3 with the men's at the very least. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this. And then we had the next match being Tiffany Stratton versus Trish Stratus versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. Now this one, it was alright. It was just probably like the lowest match on the card. It was just, something to do with Trish and Tiffany. With this being Trish's anniversary year, they definitely wanted to do something with her. And you might as well have her do something with Tiffany because, why not? And there wasn't much outside of that. Charlotte Flair didn't show up at all. It was just a fun match overall. But probably the only one that didn't really have like a big storyline implication going into it. But yeah, overall, it was a pretty good match. And we'll just kind of move on because again, there's nothing really to be said there. Next up, we have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in an unsanctioned match. This match, I felt the same that I felt about the Cody Rhodes Kevin Owens match, which is like, I feel like it took a while to get going. Like, I was expecting a little bit more with this match, and for the first, I would say the first half of it, I was just kind of like, okay, like just kind of waiting for it to get going, and then during the second half, it really got going in some big ways, and I think I almost hyped it up a little too much in a way that I, for the first half, was kind of disappointed with what was going on because I just didn't feel like they were going that bombastic. But at the same time, I feel like with how they were ending, like how the story that they were telling with the entire match, especially towards the end, to me, I think made up for it. And it was just amazing. I think this was an incredible match. To me, it was probably the best match of the night. I would give it like a 9 out of 10 though. Not like a perfect match, but like a 9 out of 10. Again, it took some time to get going. But, the whole thing with Kevin working the neck of Sammy and Sammy just never giving up. The new ways they could be brutal in like a WWE sense was still pretty fun too. I wasn't expecting like a whole, ECW or like some of their matches from ROH style, but I feel like this was a close enough representation of it where it was still brutal without being like bombastically so. Also, we had the ending where Kevin Owens beat Sami Zayn. He was walking off. You thought this was done, but then KO starts to head back, almost trying to like end Sami Zayn entirely. And then we get the return of Randy Orton, which was just so cool. Kevin versus Randy is going to be pretty fun. It obviously needs a stipulation, but we'll have to wait and see where that goes. But it was just really fun just seeing Randy back. The only thing that I really had a problem with, and it was mostly like the security guards and the producers, like they got involved somewhat towards the end of the match, and to me that wasn't a problem. To me that was just kind of them highlighting like how brutal Kevin was being, that even in this unsanctioned match there were still people from backstage who were coming out being like, no, you gotta stop this. But with Kevin and Randy, my biggest problem is that they almost allowed Sami Zayn for his career to just end with like Kevin trying to go for a package pile driver on the cement outside. But when Randy is about to punt Kevin, that's when they step in and try to do something. They step in and actually try to stop something bad from happening when it's against a piece of shit who definitely deserves it. And this was just like, but again, I'm just excited. I think, they're just kind of like teasing us. They're just like, oh, he's gonna bring back the punt kick, but you don't get it yet. You're gonna have to wait for that punt kick to come back. And I mean, this was just loads of fun. Again, took a while, I feel like, to really get going, but when it did, it was really great. Randy coming back was great. He RKO'd a bunch of security guys afterwards. It's gonna be fun seeing where the story goes. I was always of the mindset that Kevin versus Sammy should be a WrestleMania match, but honestly, I think the Randy Orton stuff just has as much fuel as the KO Sammy stuff, so it's gonna be interesting to see where they go with this. And then finally, we had the men's Elimination Chamber to see who will face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, with the participants being CM Punk, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, John Cena, Logan Paul, and Seth frickin' Rollins. And this match, I feel like, was definitely better than the women's, just for the factor that I feel like it had more of a presence of storytelling throughout it that I feel like was kind of lacking with the women's one outside of like the Jade stuff. Like there was definitely like setup for stuff they can do in the future, like I mentioned with Bayley, Roxanne, and Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, but it just didn't really feel like it was really there after the match. It just felt like that in like some small interactions, but not throughout the entire match. But with the men's Elimination Chamber, it definitely felt like the opposite. Whether it was, Drew and Priest and them continuing the story that they've been going through of Damian screwing Drew out of his chances in a way with like the Royal Rumble. They also have history like leading up to that, like with like Money in the Bank, WrestleMania, that I feel like they're kind of working into this. I don't understand why people have this much of a problem with it. I think it's just really dumb. I think the only person who was really out of place during all of this was Logan Paul, because like he was just not really doing anything. Like the only great moments that were really there with him were when people were beating the shit out of him, like with CM Punk and shit like that. But also we had like the story with Seth and Drew, hating CM Punk. Seth just trying to desperately go after Punk even though he had other chances to score a victory. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go with that, if they're going to do CM Punk versus Seth at WrestleMania, if Punk is going to insert himself into the world title match with Roman and Seth going to Mania. It's going to be interesting. But then we obviously had to talk about John Cena, seeing him interact with, everyone. Because this, I believe he got into the match before Drew got eliminated. So yeah, he did interact with everyone in a way. But like him interacting with CM Punk, Seth Rollins, it was just really cool, really fun. The little back and forth he had with Punk afterwards, after Seth got eliminated, was really cool. And then Seth kind of interfering, stomping CM Punk on like the steel on the outside, and then Cena taking the opportunity to lock in the SDF. It was really good storytelling, especially with what followed afterwards. But I think this just had what the women's Elimination Chamber had, didn't. And that being said, I don't think that's like the women's fault for that. I think it was mostly due to how it was produced and just the lack of importance that the women's division has been feeling as a whole. Like Bayley versus Roxanne has been given some importance, even though there was like a segment that they had that was like during a commercial break that you could only see if you didn't have ads. It was weird. But like the Alexa Bliss stuff, she's only been really getting like promos here or there. There hasn't been that much build up in Low Liv. She has been getting some importance with the tag team division, which has been good. But again, I just feel like it says a lot when Bayley and Alexa Bliss don't feel that big in this women's division right now with what they got going on. And I think that really hurt the match, like hurt the Elimination Chamber match and how it was produced and the storytelling with it. And I just feel like it says a lot that it's just not on, it wasn't just as good as the men's Elimination Chamber match, even though it had every right for it to be so with the talent involved, like Bayley, Roxanne, Alexa, Liv, Bianca. Like these are all talented women, and the only reason I'm leaving Naomi out of that is because she got attacked beforehand. Like she didn't get a single move in. But even with that said, with like the 5 other women, they have so much talent that they were able to showcase. But it just kind of sucks that backstage with the people who are like controlling their creative process, like what they are doing, that they are just not making them as important as Logan Paul. It sucks. It really does. But again, the men's one was incredible. I don't know. I would give it like an 8. To me, I think Kevin versus Sammy was still better. I think it was definitely the match of the night. But this one was just really fun, and I think it had good storytelling throughout. It's just, I don't know. I think the problem with it is that I feel like they could have done some cooler stuff with it, and that's the same problem that I had with the women's one, is like I wish they would just done some more cool stuff. But I think what makes the men's Elimination Chamber better was the fact that they had better storytelling throughout the entire match. And then we obviously get to the big story of the night, which is John Cena turning heel with Cody Rhodes declining The Rock's offer. And this segment was just so good, except for the fact that Travis Scott was there. Because like, why is he there? Why was he beating up Cody? Why is he just in the ring the entire time? I just don't care for it. To me, like, that was the whole thing. Like, I was watching that segment take place and I was just like, oh my god, this is incredible. But why the fuck is Travis Scott there? Get this man out of here. Like, to me, it was just weird. And apparently he did legitimately slap Cody while he was down, which is like, why even let him get involved? It's so stupid. Outside of, him being a celebrity, like, nobody cared that Travis Scott was there. Nobody. I mean, Drake was there and they didn't even spotlight him when they were trying to like spotlight celebrities, having good reason. But obviously we need to talk about that segment because like it starts out, John Cena wins the chamber match. Cody Rhodes comes out, they they hug, they dap up, shit like that. And then The Rock comes out with Travis Scott. And Rock is just like, okay, it's that time. It's time for you to give me your soul. And when Cody starts talking, you think that is what he's going to do. Because he's just like, Rock, I want it all. I want everything, but my soul is no longer mine. And, one might believe that he's going to say, oh, it's yours now. But he's like, no, my soul belongs to this ring and the fans, cementing the fact that he's like, I'm a, champion for the people. I'm a baby face, shit like that. And John Cena during that entire time, like, when he was saying that, was going crazy, So you're thinking, oh, John wouldn't turn on him because, like, he's with him, right? He thinks he's doing the right thing. Nope. It's just great. This is the moment that I have rewatched the most just because I love the line delivery that Cody gives to it, where he's just like, hey, Rock, go fuck yourself. I have rewatched that moment time and time again just because I love the way that he says it. I'll even like pull it up. I won't pull up the video just in case it gets like copyright claimed or whatever, because WWE can be really weird about that.
Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself.
I just love the way that he says it. I gotta play that again.
Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself.
Like, when that moment hit, I could not help myself but to laugh so hard because it's just so good. I love the line delivery. Cody is so good at those moments too, where you can just tell like it's gonna become a meme or something. It's gonna become like insanely funny. But then we have the after fact, because after Cody tells The Rock to go fuck himself, John Cena and him dap up to be like, you know what, me and you, WrestleMania, fuck this guy, right? But then we get a little moment between John and Rock, where John is staring at The Rock in a very serious face, and The Rock cuts his own throat in a way to simulate, hey, go after him. And Cena takes it. He sells his soul to The Rock, he kicks Cody right in the nards, and then proceeds to beat the shit out of him, leaving Cody in a bloody mess. The Rock gets the strap that he, like the belt that had Cody's soul on it with the date that Dusty Rhodes died on it, and he just started fucking beating him with it. Travis Scott also got involved for some reason. Again, he didn't really do much. He was just there. He was like, putting sage everywhere, whatever the fuck. I don't know. Who cares? But overall, outside of like Travis Scott just being there, kind of being weird, I feel like this segment was great. It's probably the best thing that WWE has put out in 2025 yet. And that's saying much because we still got a lot of the year to go. But it's going to be interesting to see what a heel corporate John Cena is going to look like. Because this is essentially like, what if John Cena joined the Authority back in 2015, but instead of Triple H, it's The Rock? So this is going to be interesting. Some people are also speculating that there's going to be another person joining The Rock and Cena. I could see that being the case, but honestly, I don't even think you need to. But we'll have to wait and see about that. It's going to be interesting to see. I feel like Punk is also going to get involved in this because of the history between him and Cena. Maybe he'll call in the favor to Heyman, and, get himself in the main event. Or, I don't know. Because, like, Roman could also play into this. Maybe someone with him and The Rock. But honestly, I think Roman will mostly stay, like, when he comes back, either he'll like face off against The Rock or it'll be him and Seth. I don't see Roman really getting into the world title picture. Probably, I could definitely see it maybe like till SummerSlam. I just feel like after that long reign we had with Roman, I feel like having him not have a world title shot for like a year would make the most sense. Like, freshen up the title division a bit, which I feel like they have done in the last year. But I feel like, he doesn't need a world title match for this WrestleMania, and I feel like him not having one is probably for the best. And that's really all you gotta say, except for one thing that I really had a problem with for most of this pay-per-view, and it's something that I'm just not a big fan of when it comes to WWE lately when I try to watch it, and that's really Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee was just kind of he's just obnoxious recently, and I feel like that's because he's less of playing a character and he's just more like being himself, and I think that's what's weird about it. Like, I don't know, it's the problem that I have with I have a similar problem with Michael Cole too, where him kind of being himself is being more weird, but that's particularly with Logan Paul. So if you guys don't know, tensions with Canada, where Elimination Chamber was hosted, is kind of like tensions between Canada and the US are kind of in a weird state right now because of tariffs that Trump implemented on Canada and shit like that. Also, he said he wanted to make Canada like the 51st state or whatever. So Canadians right now are not the biggest fan of, they are the biggest fan of America as a whole. And because of that, recently they have been booing the American national anthem anytime it is played during like, any time of the sports that are being held in Canada, whether it's hockey, shit like that. And they did so with WWE. And Pat McAfee had a problem with that, and he voiced it very clearly during the like opening of the show. And I'm gonna pull it up. I'm not gonna show the video because again, WWE can be pretty weird about copyright, but I will like play the recording of it so you understand like what he was saying.
The WWE's ever had. Kinda sucks that it's in the terrible country of Canada that booed our national anthem to start this entire thing, but it's gonna be a historic night for the WWE on the road to WrestleMania. Let's get on.
And this was something that he just wouldn't shut up about. Like, there were a few times where he would constantly make references to this, being like, they booed our national anthem. They booed us. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. There was also something that Logan Paul did during his entrance where he brought out an American flag and started waving it. And Michael Cole, who's supposed to be like the face, he's the guy who, regardless of what's going on in storyline, he's behind the baby face in the story. For some reason, this has been happening recently. Michael Cole has taken a liking to Logan Paul, even though like it doesn't make sense for like his character as like his role as a sports commentator. Like, this happened on Raw too, where like Logan Paul came out and like him and Michael Cole are essentially just slobbering on his knob. It's getting fucking ridiculous. Like, I don't get it. It's so fucking weird, and it just makes like even wrestling commentators play a character in a way. Like, Wade Barrett was also on this announce team, and you probably wouldn't notice because fucking Pat, mostly Pat was just talking when he really didn't need to. Like, that's the thing too, is that I feel like Pat McAfee also talks when he just doesn't need to. Like, he doesn't let moments breathe on his own. He always has to like interject whenever he can. And it's just kind of obnoxious. But when Logan Paul came out with the US flag, Michael Cole essentially said, I told you that I liked Logan Paul, and Pat McAfee said, me too. Like, I feel like aren't these guys supposed to be like the good guy commentators? Why are you like praising someone who's obviously supposed to be a bad guy? Like, I get it if you personally like Logan Paul, like whatever, I don't give a shit what you personally like. But like, as a person who is playing a character while being a wrestling commentator, why are you just like slobbing on this guy's knob? It just comes off as like noxious. It just comes off as forced. And with that being said too, like, Logan Paul isn't really that special. I feel like the wow of Logan Paul as a wrestler has kind of died off, probably arguably ever since like his match with Ricochet, because like before that, or even like the Money in the Bank match he was in, because like before that, he had like pretty good matches with like the tag match he debuted in, his match against The Miz, his match against Roman, his match against Seth, his performance in like the 2023 Royal Rumble. But ever since then, all of his matches are just kind of the same and don't really add much. And it's gotten to the point where the wow factor of being like, hey, a guy who hasn't been trained that much is able to do all this stuff is kind of gone. It's just, I don't get it anymore. I feel like, and like, I understand like they signed him to the roster officially before like this wow factor sort of weared off, but honestly I really hope they don't renew his contract whenever that comes up. I don't know how long it is. I think it's supposed to be 5 years, but I don't know. But like, I feel like Logan Paul doesn't really add anything because he's been in the WWE long enough that any like sort of audience that would come to the WWE because of Logan Paul is probably already here or already tried it and didn't care enough to stick around. Like, I feel like he's just been here a little too long now, where it obviously shows that he hasn't gotten much better. He's just kind of remained the same, and he's not that good to be looked at as like a grand attraction or be treated like a big star. Like, I think the mid card is definitely like a good place for him to be, to sort of give that attention to up and comers, but he doesn't really need to be in the main event and really shouldn't be. Like, the only thing that I would give him is like, I thought his match with Roman versus like his match against Roman at Crown Jewel was pretty cool, but other than that, like, I think that was like, okay, we put him in the world title scene and that's it. He's never going back there unless he really improves, which I just don't feel like he has. Like, every Logan Paul match just feels the same now. It's just like, yeah, I've seen him do this before. I don't really care. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what they do with that. But yeah, I just found the slobbering of Logan Paul very obnoxious, and it just didn't happen here. They also been doing it a lot recently. It's probably the only thing that really wants me to just get to WrestleMania right away, because I've been enjoying the build up, unlike some other people. But I have been enjoying the build up just because, like, it's one of those cases of like, I have no idea what their plans are for WrestleMania, and I'm honestly enjoying it. I'm enjoying the twists and the turns, and the where are we heading up in the air, and I feel like it's pretty well done. But with Logan's involvement in the WWE right now is the only thing that's making me be like, yeah, let's just skip to the end, because after WrestleMania, he's just gonna be gone. Like, I think this whole, like, oh, I'm a full-time member of the roster now, is just a bunch of bull, and he's gonna be gone until whatever Saudi event they're gonna do, or SummerSlam. So yeah, I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait for that big, big breath of fresh air. I think that's the phrase. Whatever. But yeah, I can't wait for that. But overall, Elimination Chamber was pretty good. I think that it had some matches that could have used some more workshopping in terms of the storyline department. The tag match was pretty fun. The Elimination Chamber match was fun. The best match of the night was definitely the unsanctioned match. Overall, it was a pretty solid pay-per-view with a great ending to boot. And that's all I really have to say about the matter. So I will see y'all